What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Woods Fab TV. As you can see, we're a little tight on space today. It's actually raining in Phoenix, Arizona, which almost never happens, but I don't really want you hear that? Actually, you can hear the thunder clapping right there. I really don't want my Buick Riviera sitting out in the rain. Not that it hasn't been in the rain and can't be in the rain, but you know, if you can keep them inside, keep them inside. It's gonna be a little tight until the weather lets up, but just gonna have to be careful and work around it. If you caught our last episode, you saw us tearing down the 61 Cadillac. We made pretty good progress on it. We got the front end all off of it. We got that old 390 and hydromatic transmission out of it. And we also uncrated the brand new LS3 that's gonna be dropped in here. Before we go any further, I wanna mess with this firewall. As you can see, it's not the prettiest thing. When I got the car, there was a giant hole. I put this plate in here, I put vintage air in the car, everything. Originally, I was gonna stay with the 390, so I wasn't too concerned about making the firewall perfect. This car was never intended to be some ultimate show car, everything perfect, this and that. But now that we are dropping money and time into putting a late model motor in it and everything else, I wanna open this hood at car shows and people wanna see the engine compartment, want the firewall to look presentable. My problem is I still want to keep my windshield wipers, and as you can see on these old Cadillacs, they build like a little cubby hole here that really looks kind of awful. I have some ideas on what I may be able to do. Ooh, we're getting a weather alert, aren't we? Flash flood warning, look at that. Glad I left the car inside. We're gonna remove the bulkhead for the AC right here and possibly push it over here into behind the fender in the inner fender well. This worked great for the 390. The placement was great. The heater core hoses came right down the valley and everything. It looked good. I don't think it's gonna work for our LS. And now that we're trying to clean this up, make it a little more pleasing to the eye, I think it's gonna look better to push it over in the corner and hide it in the fender wall. So we're gonna clean it up. I don't wanna get lost in this project for months on end. This is maybe a week at best type project. And we'll clean it up, make it look better, and we'll move on from there. All right, only thing left now is everything. Stay tuned. First thing we'll do is pull the cowl off here. See if we can access the top of this windshield wiper motor and see what's going on in there. All right. So we got the top off, as you can see. I popped this guy off, pulled that nut off of that guy. It's only been stuck on there for 60 plus years, so naturally it doesn't want to come off. When something's been together as long as this has, I don't expect it just to come apart. Of course, it's going to give me a fight. Whoa. All right, that scared the hell out of me. That's what the problem was though. She was stuck. Tell me that didn't scare you too. All right, fine, I'm a bit of a sissy, but it did catch me off guard. Oh man, she's a big girl. Well, that timing was perfect. Weather's finally let up, so I can get the Buick back outside and I can swing the doors open on the Cadillac and start pulling the stash. Small shop life. I know a lot of you out there know exactly what this is like. You got to move something so you can work on something else. It's kind of like a mean game of Tetris. I got to get all this stuff off the firewall. I'm concerned that if I do all this welding and resheet this thing, that I may light something on fire or burn something up. So I want to get this dash out, and then after that, I'll pull the evaporator box out that's underneath it. This rain's wrecking my day. So obviously the Riviera's back inside. Ran inside for a minute and then the weather just let loose again. So as you can see in back of me, it's a very wet day here in Phoenix, Arizona. So Riviera's gonna have to stay inside. It's gonna be a little tight on space, but so yeah. It's a pretty good storm. So I wasn't able to get all the dash out of the Cadillac. I need to swing the door open, but I got the Buick Riviera on the way because of the storm outside. But I did get enough stuff pulled away that I believe I can safely start to cut all this out. Makes me a little nervous with all the upholstery and everything still in the car. So I'm gonna try to cut majority of it with a body saw. That way it doesn't throw sparks and potentially light that stuff on fire. One time I was torching a transmission crossmember out of a truck, and I was next to a trash can that one of the guys I worked with dumped a bunch of lacquer thinner in earlier that day, and it blew sky high and it scared the out of me. So I try to be safe about this stuff. I'm definitely not trying to burn the car in the shop to the ground. What's the saying? Happy wife, happy life? Yeah, I guess I don't want to burn the car in the shop to the ground. It's also attached to the house where she lives. She seems all sweet and all, but trust me, she can be a real bear when you burn her house to the ground. Well, there goes the extended factory warranty. So this guy sat here-ish from the factory, right? See it hanging out there? And our hope being the key word. Yeah, check that out. That actually fits. I don't know if it'll all hook up. I don't know if it'll work, but it fits. So when I clean this all up, sheet metal over the front of this, that'll all be gone. That should look good. Clearly the weather's bipolar like me and it's sunny outside again. So I got the Buick back outside and now I'm gonna work on getting this dash out. I would say at this point my Cadillac's a complete mess. I love how these little projects always turn into major ones. I'll just drop an LS in it, no big deal. Yeah, right. I was pulling that dash and I got to thinking, before I go any further on flipping this windshield wiper motor or shaving the firewall or anything, I need to figure out these lines in this bulkhead for the evaporator box. It's got the Gen 4 vintage air box in it. I did all that a couple years ago before I pulled off the project. I had the bulkhead over here, which we saw earlier, and that worked out great for the 390, but I don't want it there for the LS. I'm gonna put it up here inside the fender. Pretty much won't be able to see it. It's in the back of the hinge and everything. But then I got to thinking about that. In order to do that, I gotta come into this compartment, and this compartment in here gets water in it because it's all part of the windshield wipers mechanism up in here. And so up here where you got your cowl, when it rains and the water comes through here, it flows down in here, runs down, comes out the bottom of the body here through a couple of holes. So I think what I'm gonna do before I do any of that, I'm gonna cut all through this piece here, and I'm gonna build a elongated tube. So basically I'm just continuing the area of the cab into this little compartment here so that that stays dry. Last thing I want is a bunch of water in the car when I'm going down the road. And yes, I realize this looks awful right now. I promise you this will not be the finished product. Before this is done, I'll cut all this up, clean it up. I'll blend it. I may even come down here and cut it where the new firewall is gonna sit. I won't leave it looking that ugly, I promise. I know it goes behind a piece of sheet metal, but I won't sleep at night knowing that that looks that awful in this car. If you're watching me cut this and you think it looks too small, you were 100% right. I'd only cut it once, not twice, but I'm currently on the third time of trimming this out. I've now made it as big as I can behind that kick panel, hoping that the hoses will run at a nice straight angle and I won't have any kinks or any more problems. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to figure out something else. To give me as much room as possible, I decided to move the speaker pod down 1.5 inches. All right, so we got a box. This go around, I made it much deeper, as you can see. So when it comes time to put our bulkhead in there, we should have a ton more room to work. It did take some extra time to rebuild this, but I think it was worth it. This is gonna make a hell of a lot less of a fight when I go to put this all together. And plus I think it's gonna look a lot better too. So now I got this all tacked together, I'm gonna do a quick test fit, and if it all works out, I'll build the flanges that'll attach to the firewall. Tight fit, tight fit. Oh boy. It looks good, but does it work? This is the moment of truth. See, this hose was always one of those fighting us. It's nice and straight now. The vintage air evaporator box is in. My lines are nice and straight now. So problem solved. Now that the bulkhead issue is figured out, I can get back to working on the firewall. So I'm gonna cut this panel to be all one piece, all the way to the edge of the bracket for the power booster and master cylinder over here, and then that will make a separate piece. I think that's if I have sheet metal big enough for this. If not, we'll shrink it down and make it two pieces. What I need to figure out is I gotta follow, it's gonna be fairly flat. Up here's flat. That's why I cut out this hump, right? Up here is all flat. Down here is flat, here's flat. And then I get to this point, there's gonna be a contour. So I gotta figure just how I'm gonna taper this back and make this look right. Guess I can make the template. I don't know, I'm just gonna start making the template and see where we end up. Sometimes you just gotta dig into the project and figure it out as you go. I'm not saying cut first, measure second, but you're not gonna have all the details out the gate. Sometimes you just gotta get into it and figure it out as you go. When it comes to making templates, I really suggest taking your time, don't rush it. The nicer that template comes out, the better your part's gonna come out, and ultimately that's gonna save you time when you do the install. The wife just reminded me she has a dentist appointment today, so it looks like the baby's gonna spend some time with his old man in the shop. Got you your own camera? You got your own camera, huh? Yeah. Okay, mom's at the dentist, so I need you to be good so dad can continue working. Look, we'll turn this on. You can play with this. It's a little lamb. It's all kinds of stuff. Okay? I'm just building templates at this point and laying out the firewall, so it's not gonna be a problem with the baby being out in the shop. It's not like I'm gonna use any power tools. All right, template's close enough. Start turning into some sheet metal. Good news, Mom's back. That means Dad can make some noise and do some cutting. Next, I'm going to install clecos, that way I can hold the panel in place and do all my fine tuning on it. With the passenger side all roughed in, it's time to jump onto the driver's side. And first thing I need to do is remove this master cylinder. I'm gonna build a template for the support bracket on the master cylinder. You know, the old one went on the outside of the firewall and it was ugly. We don't wanna do that since we're putting this nice firewall in here. So I'm gonna build a whole new custom one from the outside and flip it to the inside. I think my bracket is spot on. For the heck of it, I'm gonna test this master cylinder and make sure everything fits. The master cylinder fits. So now I'm gonna tack the bracket in, and then I'm gonna start working on the sheet metal for the driver's side. Next, I need to cut a hole for the master cylinder and the wiring harness. Once it's all trimmed up to exactly how we need it fit, then we'll figure out our bead rolls, make it look kind of cool. Believe it or not, this is the easy part. The hard part now is going to be cutting out wherever this dish needs to sit and then forming that piece in there. Custom. And just like that, we got a custom firewall, or at least the starts of one. We got the template made and the sheet metal cut. We got the master cylinder support bracket built and flipped to the inside for a smooth, clean look. We figured out the bulkhead nightmare. We hid that hideous wiper motor and flipped it to the inside. And we even started cutting out the center section. Overall, I think this is gonna look amazing. Hopefully by end of next episode, we'll have this all together and have this firewall completed. Thank you for watching. See you all next time. Peace. Recording, day whatever, Cadillac project, freaking nightmare, big old mess. Take 16, marker. I'll bring it right along this pinch down here. Can you see my gut? Yeah. So first thing we'll do is we'll pull the cowl off here. Cowl, moo, pull the cowl.